All right, we are live and we are celebrating today. Shalini Nag, this is wonderful to have you here today. You are in the chapter of the Game Changer, which is launching today. And yes, aren't we happy? Ooh, there we go.
I'm excited.
I am very excited. So, your chapter, Shalini, is Flip the Paradigm, Embrace the Human Approach to Boost Your Business. What prompted you to write a chapter for this book, and what is your vision for doing so?
So, when I first read the other volumes of this book, I realized that each volume aspired to really look at the business holistically. That coincided with my desire to spread my message, which was based on my background and my experience with a lot of different companies of different sizes. I realized that most companies were looking very strategically and thoughtfully at finance, product, customer, and um, operations, but more often than not, they'd forget who makes all of this come together. They'd forget their people. So for me, it is important that we now flip that paradigm and really focus on putting people at the heart of the business, because they're what actually allows businesses to thrive. So when it came to me taking the opportunity to sharing that message, being part of this collaboration was almost a no-brainer.
You know, I was in last year's edition of the book, and it is quite a privilege. Or maybe the year before. I don't know. The years go together.
Especially when we're stuck.
Yes, yes. What is the name of your business?
So my business is called Evida Solve. It stands for evidence-based solutions, because a lot of people feel that culture and people, which is the space I work in, is very squishy and very difficult to get there or wrap their arms around. But really, when we think about it, there are ways in which we can really track our success even in this arena. And because of my scientific background, for me, it is imperative that whatever I do actually gets tracked, monitored, recorded in the right way. And so Evida Solve.
That's beautiful. And I noticed in your chapter, the first part of it says great companies are built on robust strategies that encompass their finances, operations, products, and customers. Exceptional companies that remain sustainable, innovative, and relevant in an ever shifting, evolving world are those that focus as earnestly on their people as on their strategy. That's really beautiful. So can we expand on that? Because it is the people that we work with, and it's also the people we serve.
Indeed. So the way I think about it, or the way I like to visualize it, is the business strategy is really the legs on which a company stands. So the four things: finance, product, operations, and customer, are really the elements that allow. And if you want to visualize it, are like the legs of a stool. But what binds it all together are the people who are doing the work together in order to get all of these four uh, pillars to function. And so, if we don't focus on integrating the people with the legs of the stool, we end up with a seat in one place and the legs in the other, and nothing really works. So
Right.
you don't really have a functional piece of furniture. And to me, that's been happening. In my experience, I've noticed that this is happening in many different companies, because they set up the strategy, and often it's the leadership team. For smaller businesses, it might be just the business owner and maybe just the founders or the partners that set up the strategy. And then when they want to make the change, or when they want to take the next step, they feel what they call is employee resistance. People don't want to change, but the reason they don't want to change, or the reason it feels like resistance, is because they were never brought along on this journey of change. That's one big thing that happens. The other is, in the last so many years, there has been this massive push towards technology. And really, I love technology and it's really helpful. But the downside is that with all of the advances right now, technology still really is better at measuring and doing what it is told. Like, it can extrapolate from knowledge it has been taught, like in learning algorithms, but it cannot really have what we need in order to adapt and evolve, which is creativity, innovation, wisdom. So for any of that, we really need to rely on our people, and that's what makes exceptional companies exceptional, is that they actually bring together all of their people. So their individuals can contribute their very best, they can bring their creativity to work, they can bring their authentic selves and 100% of their ideas without feeling afraid or scared or concerned that they won't be valued.
Very, very interesting. And I think during this time of COVID, it's been a lot of people are kind of rocked upside down, and a lot of businesses are. And I think in my observation, I've watched people either they give up or they try something even better. They're innovating and they're using technology in a way that serves them. We're using technology, using this platform to be able to connect and do these interviews. And so they're all tools that we can use to really be relatable and really connect with not only those we serve, but those we work with. But going further than that, we're living, as you mentioned in your chapter, we're navigating a fast moving, very dynamic world right now. And as we address those issues, what do you think is what do you feel is the most viable as far as the things we need to move forward with the changes that we're experiencing today?
So, when you say most viable or most important for us to move forward, I was mentioning, I touched upon briefly when I mentioned, we need to tap into the creativity, the innovation of our people. And the big question becomes how to do that. And in order to answer that question, I created the Success Delta because I observed that the main difference between a great company and an exceptional company is that they put the people at the heart of their business. And the way they do it is by creating a high trust environment, a high inclusion environment, and a high development environment. So, what are these three elements and how they actually matter and why do they have this matter? Trust really matters because if I don't trust you, I will not be honest or I will not be able to share either issues or challenges with you because I'll always be concerned that you may or may not have my best interest. So if I admit that I need support to learn something or I need support to do something, or if there's an issue cropping up, I may highlight it early enough for us to take a new course. Inclusion really makes a difference because if I feel uncomfortable, if I don't feel like I can bring 100% of myself or that parts of me will not be accepted, then I'm always functioning at work as a partial object. Like if you think about it from the perspective of assets, because we talk about human capital, etc. What if you had a machine and then it had like 10 features and you were only using four? You miss out on so much value. And that's what happens if you have a non-inclusive environment, because those who are feeling excluded are really only bringing that 20, 30, 40% of themselves
Right.
and their entire capabilities to work. So you're losing out on so much value right then and there. And then finally,
Oh,
the high development piece. This is critical because if you really think about it, everybody puts out a job ad and they want this purple squirrel who can dance the mambo and then play a jig and all of that. First of all, very few of those exist. And then secondly, it is so much easier and better to focus on coaching and developing your people because as they grow, the company grows. The more they grow, the more responsibilities they can take up, the more they can contribute to the company, the bigger bigger and better the company gets. And also because you are developing them, they feel invested. They realize you're invested in the growth, so they give back as much, if not more.
I think that's pretty much the case with everything. If you feel you're wanted and needed and you're supported, you're going to give way more than you would if you're feeling like, oh, they're going to fire me the next day, or or I don't have the tools and resources, and they don't really care anyway. That type of thing. So
Yeah.
it's all about people. It's about people and being um, letting them feel and supporting them so that they feel like they are an active, viable part of that infrastructure in the community of that business. That is so cool. So those that are listening, you can pick up a copy. You can see the link down now scrolling at the bottom. I also put it in the chat. And pick up a copy of this book. The Kindle version is 99 cents for today during this launch period. You can also pick up the print one, which I love the print one. I like to be able to hold them in my hands. I like to be able to mark up my, highlight the key areas where I feel like it's most applicable to me. Shalini, it's really cool that you've taken advantage of this opportunity to be in the Brilliant Breakthroughs series. And I've met some pretty incredible people in the process over the years of being able to help promote and get Maggie's book out to the world. But for you, what has it done for you as far as because putting pen to paper when we're writing something for a book or even writing our own book, there's a different perspective that comes into place. How did it affect you as far as being able to write this chapter?
I think the three main buckets in which change or growth happened for me are: one, you're right, when we have to put pen to paper and you start trying to explain to somebody else your knowledge or what you understand in ways that are simple to absorb and apply, it changes the way you really think about what you do and the impact that you deliver. So there's a clarity that you yourself gain that is then helpful for all of your clients, all the people that you work with, etc. And I think this is one of those elements. In grad school when I was doing my doctorate, my advisor always used to say, learn one, do one, teach one. So I think in the writing, so I have done the learning one, I've done the doing one. I think in the writing, I've reached the level of teach one. And I think that really makes the difference to the quality of understanding and the value that you deliver as an individual. And I think that was really helpful. The second is, in the attempt to really put pen to paper and really clarify it, I reached out to so many different experts in my arena and experts who are currently leading exceptional organizations. And I think those conversations were invaluable in ensuring that both the work that I have put into the book and also the work that I continue to build out is much more holistic, much more exempt from blind spots. Uh, so it's definitely something that's validated, that has been developed through other experts participating in these conversations. And then the third one is, I think for me personally, this has been a really exceptional journey, because you know that our co-authors are from different types of expertise. So it's an opportunity to really get together with a community of like-minded, forward-thinking experts and practicing experts, and learn from each other and contribute to each other's growth as well.
I think that it's so beautiful because when you realize the growth that comes, in my writing, when I've written a couple of books, and I work with authors every single day, and it's putting that, it gives a whole different perspective, and it really helps you to reach deep, because in order to be able to reach the hearts of those that are reading our chapter or our entire book, we have to be able to formulate the words that will connect the heart, because otherwise, what's the point of what we're doing? And you wrote a beautiful chapter.
Thank you, Becky. You actually mentioned something very important there. When we are trying to explain something and we start asking, why is this obvious to me? You can actually dig into and identify assumptions that we ourselves have. That's part of the lesson that emerges from the Conversations for Business Success. That's the other part of my chapter, but I leave that for people to read. But the point I'm trying to make is, I think putting pen to paper really helps us question our own assumptions and grow from it.
Yes, and it's funny because one of the first things I tell my authors is, when you've written your chapter, stop and read it aloud. Because what happens is, like, Well, I didn't explain that very clearly because our minds work one way, but when we're writing it, putting it on paper, sometimes it doesn't always get translated that way. And in doing so, it helps you to really fine tune and become much more crystal clear on what it is that you're teaching and bringing to the world. Because it's time for us as leaders to stand up and shine in all the ways possible because our world needs us. So thank you for this wonderful interview for the Biz Book, Brilliant Breakthroughs for the Small Business Owner that is launching today. And pick up a copy. And thank you for a beautiful interview, Shalini. It's been wonderful to speak with you. So pick up your copy. There you go. All right. Thank you for an awesome interview.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.